Hey, it's a Wednesday, and at this time, for the last 25 plus years, my good friend, Dr. Joe Congini, Sports Medicine Center, Akron Children's Hospital, has been on board with us with great sports medicine insight, and he joins us again this morning. Good morning, Dr. Joe. What do you have for us today?
Hey, Ray, what I have for you today is, first of all, does it seem like these spring winds are a little bit colder the older we get as you get kids outside and covering sports? But I'm going to ask you a favor today.
Uh-oh.
Would you please help us with these emails and texts for our sports medicine team phone calls? Once kids get outside, we start getting a lot of calls and a lot of fractures, a lot of bone injuries. So I want to explain the difference between bone injuries and fractures in kids and in adults. So let's go down that road. There's a couple points I want to make. First of all, the major differences, basically you could say, would be about age 14. There's some late growers that may be still at 15. There's some early growers that at 13 or so. But about age 14, some of the differences in the bones. Number one, kids' bones are much more flexible. They're like a twig on a young sapling tree. They bend instead of breaking in a lot of situations. And in adults, our bones just snap and break. Number two, they heal much more rapidly, and this has definitely been proven. And this is one change that maybe even parents are going to see, that the medical team is allowing people to get back to playing sooner because we know that kids heal pretty rapidly, and that's because of all the growth plates and the growing areas in the bones. Number three is these growth plates, and this growth cartilage is softer, not as strong as bone, so it is actually the weak link in the chain, and it will be a place where it breaks first. So you hear of growth plate fractures, and I want to mention that and talk about it a little bit today. And it's a weak link in the chain is really important. So in adults, you may see tendonitis or muscle pulls in the high school kids and stuff like that. In kids, when there is localized pain in one area, it's very frequently going to be a fracture. And so I wanted to talk about that. You hear the names of fractures that are a little different that are in kids that we don't see in adults, like growth plate fractures, buccal fractures, where the bone actually buckles some but doesn't break through all the way. Stress fractures, avulsion fractures, where a tendon will pull part of that soft bone away. And so these types of fractures are much more common in kids. But the great news is rarely are they serious, Ray. The bones realign so well in kids, and they start the realignment right away. And so a lot of these kids are getting back actually to playing now in even sooner periods of time, 3 to 4 weeks. And so parents are texting me and calling and saying, are you sure? You know, when I was a kid, it was a different kind of a deal. But they heal more rapidly, and so I want parents to be aware of that. They almost always grow straight again, and they have a really great ability to remodel themselves. So, by the way, when babies are born, they have about 300 bones, and in the early years, kids' bones fuse, and by the time we get to that age 14 and adult, we have 206 bones. So these are some of the bones we're talking about, and the management is the last thing I want to go over. X-ray is still important, and the good news here is we don't usually need fancier X-rays, more expensive MRIs or CAT scans or ultrasounds or anything. An X-ray tells most all of the story, and the reason we still need the X-ray is there are rarely unstable fractures where everything I just said for the last 5 minutes goes out the window, and we do have to cast kids or even sometimes operate on them. But that's less than 10% of the time. These are very, very forgiving fractures. And one of the other things, number two, parents calling me all the time, and they're going to say, gosh, we didn't even leave with a cast on. And so with many of these fractures now, a splint or tape or a brace or a sling, or sometimes even with a small fracture, they will not use anything in immobilizing these. There are those occasional unstable fractures that need to be immobilized in a cast still, but we use a lot less cast in kids than we did years in the past. So parents are texting and calling, and they're just not sure from the day 20 years ago when they were a kid. But remember, one of the great things about living in Akron, Ohio, we have specialists that see just kids and not adults, and they know how to deal with these fractures, and they know how to get kids back playing safely. And that period of time is shorter than, it's only about 3 to 4 weeks. So they'll be in a lot of pain the first couple days, and then these bones straighten out, and then these kids are back to getting to be able to play again. So we're blessed to have that medical team that sees only kids in our area, because kids are not just little adults. And I just wanted the parents and people out there and athletes to know today there is a big difference, younger than age 14 and older than age 14. And as everybody gets outside on the monkey bars, running around, playing outside, we love it. We want kids playing outside, but we definitely are seeing a lot more fractures at this time.
Well, Joe, I can tell you that I'm a lot older than 14. Recently, I helped a friend do some moving. My goodness. I used to be able to go out and do that stuff all the time. I couldn't move the next day. I hardened up like cement. So it's definitely a difference.
So definitely for us, the area we're going to overload is going to be the weak spot, is going to be the muscle and the tendon.
Yeah.
But in kids, a lot of times it's the bone. So keep an eye on that. And if there's a real local spot of pain, we still need to get that x-ray. But these kids may very quickly return to play sport. Parents asked me the other day, hey, are we done for the year? Baseball over for the year? No, that fracture will heal very quickly. And so from that standpoint, go to the experts who see kids.
All right, Joe. Great information for all of us this morning. Always appreciate the time and the energy you put into the show, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
Okay, Ray. See you next week.